Help me.
You must have managed to escape. Or perhaps you were injured during the riots. In any event, it has nothing to do
He outed as a follower of the closed fist.
Please, wait. I beg.
Those who are weak have no right to live. They're just eaten by the strong, left to die. Power must be used for
Your own sake?
sake. To waste power for the sake of
I like the
others
idea
is
that
also
he wanders
nonsense.
around giving his own soliloquies.
See, my problem with the whole thing about the evil closed fist absolutists and everything is that generally they don't have any kind of regard for the and of course part of what makes them villains when you phrase it that way.
Right.
But the situations people are in, it's like if you have like a good example here, like you have somebody like your Brock Lesnar's or your bodybuilders or whatever, but it's like right now they got hit by a car and they can't do much of anything. It's like, are you still like, because you're potentially one of the strongest people around when you get back to normal, do we do that, or do we just kill you where you are because you can't defend yourself now? It's like they tend to never ever bring stuff like that up.
Yeah, that's the thing. It seems like, and obviously, it kind of makes sense in that context because, evil people are generally supposed to be portrayed as kind of stupid.
Right.
Yeah, there is that problem of, they always seem to act or be displayed as incredibly short-sighted.
Right. Split. No, that's the one. That's the same thing. I mean, if it hadn't been a new room, I would have thought you just repeated yourself as you left a split hex gem lying.
You don't even remember what happened, do you?
Oh, do you hit amnesia?
Yes. That was the same room.
It was the
That's
same
one
room.
fact. It's deja vu all over again. I admit, the
That's
fact
hilarious.
that you
I forgot the amnesia tile.
Oh, that's Wayne being Wayne art. Accessory.
Like Lorax, eaten by the strong and left to die. Finish your meal, mister. No dessert.
Oh, great.
Ooh, this could be bad. Maybe...
Actually, no, it's not.
Whoa! Oh!
Oh, great.
It was a good idea.
Huh. Well,
You could... Sleep gem might put them all to sleep. You could,
Nope. That was the... R.
You could...
The fact that they do so little damage, though...
You could okay. So maybe diagonally...
No, they can hit on diagonal.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but...
The reflect means he dies, and that one will die shortly thereafter.
True.
Yep, it's a slog way to do it, but it works.
See, my concern was you would have run out of SP and then lost the damage race. So one miss could have done that.
Yeah, it could have, but I was confident.
Yeah, Valiant was saying, if you have amnesia, you're going to get handed a farm next? Only if I'm secretly a sheep. And yeah, he said that seemed to have gotten you to a worse position. Yeah, luckily nothing went wrong, so it ended up working out, but I was expecting like one or two misses to pop up, and then Ben would have been in trouble. It seems like the RNG always does that at the worst possible time. If you're going to cut it close, Keen says. Yeah, that is true.
Let's see. And this should be... Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's one thing about the emitters do so much damage that when they take the reflected thing starts hitting them.
That's another ripened apple. Sheesh.
You're out of regular apples to swap out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't actually have any apples to work with.
Right. And going back a little bit, it's like they also tend to only ever phrase it as physical strength. Like, can you beat so and so in a fight? Where it's like if you have somebody who's too old to beat the close fist villain now, but has decades of experience in combat and could be a really good martial arts teacher and everything. It's like how much is that worth? How many close fist points do you get for that?
Well, the thing you have to remember is that when you're talking the close fist thing, it is actually it is actually kind of a shorthand or code
for the state of nature.
Right.
In which case, it really only matters in terms of survivability.
Right.
If you can survive, then you're fine. If you cannot, then you don't.
Right.
And as a result of that, it's like, yeah, you may be a great teacher, but if you cannot parlay that into actually mattering, then it doesn't. Nobody else is going to support you, nor should they.
Well, that's what I was using in that specific example, because somebody who a good example would be like Bruce Wayne as he is in Batman Beyond. There's still a lot he can do, and he can still take care of himself to an extent. He just can't be close fist villain.
Right.
They never seem to weigh anything like that in because they're villains.
Right.
But
Well, I think the thing that you should remember for that is that for a lot of closed fist villains, they're kind of comparing themselves again in a state of nature,
Right.
to that's paralysis. I don't want that. But to those that are actually trying to survive in that sense,
Right.
So it mostly matters of do you see everybody as being in that competition or not?
Right.
If you do, then yeah, sorry, Bruce Lee, you had your time, but you're dead.
Right.
Whereas if you don't, then oh, hold up, great.
Lorax said he looked it up actually and has found a bunch of words that aren't actually. It's like apodus, of course, hazardous and horrendous, iodus, iridus. Yeah, I'm thinking a lot of those are the what was it? I was going to mix up if it's phonemes or phemones, or the ones where it's like specific root words and combinations aren't really standalone words, and I'm pretty sure vanidus is probably not one of them, or it probably is one of those instead of a standalone word.
I hate those go back to start ones.
Batman Beyond, Flython says, another staple of his childhood TV watching. Yeah, I really like that one too. Whereas the Batman animated series is one of the best,
This is just getting kind of silly, by the way.
Oh, there's your escape. I mean, this is the last floor, so...
I'm going to go back the other way. And see...
Apodus is actually a word, Valiant says. What does it mean? Because I have never heard it. And at the very end, in floor 10, we finally meet our one injector enemy.
There was one in the previous floor.
Oh, there was one?
Okay. There we are.
Oh, well, good call. You
I knew there'd be something else.
It does seem like every even-numbered floor, there's been one of those.
Well, for me, it was, we still had one more person unaccounted for.
Seriously, they're useless. I'm gonna execute all of them who come back. More importantly,
That Hien.
guy looks like he's seriously considering opposing us.
A term meaning without feet.
Fine
Yeah,
then.
Podos.
Dogs who bite the hands that feed them must
See,
be
that's what I
killed
mean,
then,
though. It's
along
like
with
it is
Celestia's
a...
God.
The actual thing is that it's actually a, this was actually, a word that I had on New Word Wednesday. It was a, basically it's a loan word, where it is the literal Latin translation
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
So that is actually a word. It is something you can actually use. But at that point, you're basically taking advantage of the fact that English, as a language, is basically a bunch of other languages together.
Right. It is the mother language. We've stolen everything.
Are you implying that mothers are thieves?
Well, if we're talking about, magpies?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I prefer
Minor birds, I think is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I prefer to think of English as the rapscallion orphan that rummages around and just steals words from every other language.
Right.
Acknowledged by none. Like, it's funny, you can see the language trees and whatnot. It seems like at all of them, it's like you start at English, work your way back.
Right.
This is my spirit world. Welcome.
Your spirit world?
Like, seriously?
Like, seriously? What does spirit world actually mean?
Well, you have spirit.
Speaking of
you have
definitions.
world.
You guys use it for the sake of Phantasma, and God can enter it.
All living creatures have a world within their mind. And it's not like those worlds are separated individually.
Oh man, how new age is this?
Related,
Actually, not so
tied into,
much.
and
This kind of goes
overlapping.
back to the Jungian idea of the collective
It's a place
unconscious.
where all consciousness resides, and all souls
New age is the
return
old
to.
age all over again.
It's basically where life is conceived.
And going even further back, the idea of a world within your own mind, the whole
I
microcosm
am
idea,
using a bit of
is
my power.
very, very old.
That's true,
What you saw
microcosm.
earlier was the current state of the people you know.
In their current state.
What does that mean? Just because we're in a dream, you're just saying whatever you want.
Now he's just being a little too thick for my tastes.
Lorax says the six-sad world is his mind.
Starting to get confused.
I want you to know. And I explained it to you since this was the perfect opportunity.
Explained in the sense that classic game characters do, but just repeating what they said before.
I'm
Right.
just a simple, weak human who became God for Celestia to fight against
When you put it that
devils.
way, it does sound kind of silly.
You underestimate yourself too much. You are strong.
It's like, yeah, you were a
Much
weak,
stronger
useless
than
human,
me.
but now you are, in fact, God.
Well, I did get transplanted with the crystal after all. Of course my powers are strong.
It's not like that.
Shin just keeps saying the wrong things.
Flython says, I'm God. This is a little too absurd for
The
me.
mental spirit of each living creature. The current spirit world is dark and stagnant. Disputes create disputes, and hatred begets hatred.
Harsh and you're mellow.
If this continues, the world will just go to sleep and die.
I had to work that into my rotation. Hey, you, go to sleep and die.
This infinite chain must be cut somewhere down the line.
Whereas this kind of goes to the whole idea of samsara, the cycle of sorrow.
Right.
Are you saying? What in the world are you?
It was also the
I am
most
one who
awesome
has
looking
the duty
ability
of
in
bundling
Nocturne.
fates,
Mm.
connecting the spirit world with the real world, and ultimately awakening the world.
Yeah, I really like that idea of
I have
unique,
determined that
of
you meet
monster
all
or
the
persona unique powers.
qualifications needed to awaken the sleeping fate. and
The
put
awakened
stop to
fate,
the war
maybe?
in your world.
Ah.
So I have chosen you. I want to save you.
Keep in mind, the last part was, I want to save you.
Right.
I just barely understood it. Like Ben said, there are limitations to how thick a character can be and still be believable.
God got crystal implants.
Ariel said it can't be fixed unless she removes the crystal.
Yeah, this is the situation where I really want to take a clue by four to this
The
guy.
moment you awaken from here, that problem will be gone. I will guide your
You're
fate.
awakened, yeah.
You will become God, pacify the war, and awaken the world. That is the fate you must follow.
It's like,
not
you're
like
God.
you're God.
I'm
Wait.
God.
You're the real.
It's almost time to wake up. See you later.
You can't take Ada's line.
Sir Shin, have you awakened?
Jubiel.
Alright, we are now
Where
out of the
am I?
Technicolor Nightmare. I would have found it hilarious if we had actually stayed with Jubiel, so we would have gone from one Technicolor Nightmare to the other.
Yeah, I guess it is a good point. They kind of, as silly as they frame the drama in that scene, it does probably change a lot of these things later. Unless you end up in the lab anyway because you're being, hospitalized.
Right, that could be.
That could be.
It's also true this game tends to
Snap out of it.
downplay the
This is
actual
reality.
results of your actions.
Right.
Ow, I know that. Good morning.
Robin to the face!
Oh, wait, what's going on? What happened to Celestia?
Though there was some damage, it is all right. We have already recovered and are moving.
Yeah, luckily
about
he happened to the invading
see.
devil forces.
That's good.
And
to
yeah,
hear.
Valiant, Sir Shin is a bit odd.
Shin, Lord Elbow.
Well, now
Yeah,
that
it
you've
is
awakened,
particularly weird
you
because I
can
played
proceed with
this one on the
long-awaited
Japanese
moments.
track, and she does say it's a Shin-san, so you'd think it would just be Shin. And we thought that that they were just doing it for Shin-sama, but no. First of all, why an earthen pot?
Real dinnerware.
What does it look like?
You better not say a cup of instant noodles.
An earthen pot? Are you making a packet of instant noodles?
Speaking of limitations of how thick he is, he just said not to say it.
An earthen pot for those. It's not a packet of instant noodles.
This kind of makes me wonder, what's better, a fancy, cooking cheap stuff well, or cooking good stuff cheaply?
Make a cup of instant noodles.
Well, depending on
Get
how
away
you
from the
define
concept
cheaply,
of
it can be
instant
really hard to
anything.
cook good things cheaply.
Well, yeah.
Even if you
I
say
meant you could buy
that.
like filet mignon and then just toss it in
It is rice
the
porridge.
basic skillet
Miss
or
Ariel
something.
made it.
Are you serious?
Why are you looking at me like that? Is it wrong for me to cook? If you don't want to eat it, I will.
Sir Shin, Miss Ariel actually went to all the trouble of coming to my room.
Oh yeah, we
and
bring out
asking
the
me how to
fancy
make
crockery
rice
for
porridge.
rice porridge.
What? Hey!
Well, it's
I
a
told
dessert.
you not to tell him that.
Oh, really?
Well,
Porridge.
that's basically true.
I only know
What's
about
wrong
porridge
with
from the
that?
Goldilocks. Exactly, Valiant. Don't say instant noodles. It says instant noodles. What level of intelligence is our protagonist at? In his current state, he is a bit thick.
He has not graduated from high school.
Scoop? Ah, leave it to me. I have plenty of chopsticks.
Like a lot of games, it's really inconsistent on the characterization here. Because it's like whatever would fit the scene better. So it's like we need Letitia to be mysterious and what's the word I'm thinking of? Yeah, mysterious and
Enigmatic?
yeah, I guess that's probably the one. Yeah, something like that. And so as a result, Shin is a complete idiot. Whereas when he needs to be empathetic and kind of
Why are you
get a
giving
handle
to
on
me?
things, then he does.
Now then, Miss Ariel, please feed Sir Shin.
Huh? Why would I do something like that?
Exactly, Jupiel. You've got most of the relationship points thanks to Lorax
Seriously?
rocking the vote.
I see. Then I shall do it.
Hold it. I'm the one who
Harem
brought up the
hijinks
idea.
ensue.
Why should you be the
Suddenly,
one
it's
who
like we're in a
feeds it?
completely different anime.
Sir Shin is
Yeah,
under
this
medical
scene is the one I was
care.
thinking of when
There's
it's
no
like
way
you
I
go
can tell
from,
him to do something
think like 3 chapters to go from
himself.
mass genocide and death to
If you
to
say
this.
To who feeds him the porridge?
the process of elimination,
Lorax, this is weird even for this game.
correct? Also, I would like to feed Sir Shin his porridge. You're not mind, right?
Together, we'll both hold the spoon at the same time and feed him.
Yeah, it's
How's
just
that sound?
it's very weird. Of course, I guess you could assume they're both being pretty happy that he's more or less back to normal.
Now then,
Which then
Sir
again, they
Shin,
haven't verified
please
about
open
the
your
whole
mouth.
crystal thing yet. So it might have been better
Well,
to do.
the fact that he's awake.
Well, yeah.
How can you say no to faces like that?
How is it?
The perfect amount of salt.
I see. I'm glad. I wanted
Of course she did.
noodles, but
It's too many terrible anime tropes all at the same time. If anybody needs to take a break, kind of...
Don't encourage them. They may not come back.
do detox, watch some...
You punch something,
Yeah, just
have a burger,
first place. Since I was already borrowing it, I decided to go ahead and have her teach me some things. Come
If I
on,
was actually
eat
thinking
up.
he'd probably end up saying he'd pretty much outdo it myself at this point.
I do watch yourself.
Oh, he just feed himself.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I've been thinking about this for a while now. Isn't it about time we
And,
started sounding
and now for one of the most
friendlier
Japanese discussions.
I too was thinking the same thing.
Why?
It feels like you're trying to distance yourself from me. Since we know each other quite well now, shouldn't you sound more...
Yeah, needless to say, in
caring?
the Japanese one, they just dropped the san for that and have him kind of really weirdly pronouncing it.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
You two are fine with that?
I do not mind. In fact, for our gracious Lord to address
I'm a
me
friend
in
of
friendly
God. I'm a
terms,
friend of God. He calls me friend.
I agree. So just put a little pep in our names.
All right, I will. Jupiel and Ariel.
That's
I just told you, and you're already back
that's
to
actually pretty
sounding
close
distant.
to how you'd have him do that, right?
Tried it her way.
We're so disappointed we couldn't choose. Angel Princess would have pretended it's an airplane.
I could see that. But why you should song?
Yes. I hope we continue to get along.
Isn't
I don't
this
mind
cute,
it,
too?
So I'll allow it. Make sure you keep saying my name like that, Shin.
Even though it seems a little out of place.
I'm being friendly with girls.
In Social Link, your little clash of music starts.
Let us proceed.
So that whole thing was the beginning of the chapter.
Guess we might as. Is it the? I'm trying to remember if there was. Like, how many dungeons are there in this chapter?
It will tell you if there's more than one in a chapter. It'll do like part 1 or part A or something. So
Because this is still the mission war, the chapter we're in,
yes,
right?
yep,
So I guess we'll just have to keep doing events.
yep. That'll be the only dungeon in this chapter. They kind of mix up the pacing a bit, having sometime dungeon
It
first,
weirds
sometimes
me
last.
out. Because up until now, it's actually been pretty static.
Undergoing
What is this
maintenance.
Miss Ariel, is something the matter?
The balanced social link?
Balance.
Is there a problem?
Yeah, we have Devil and Justice, I guess.
Well, the counterflow of the crystal's power
I am thou,
is
thou
no
art
longer
I.
happening.
Yeah, I know Ben and I have been talking about. We're probably not going because the games are so long. We're probably not going to go
If that
back
was
and
the
play
case,
Persona
I
4,
wouldn't
even though
think
I kind
that
of
it's
want
strange.
to.
But I'm
We
looking
probably will
forward
do
to
Persona 5, right?
Yes.
Fixed itself on its own. That's why I'm surprised.
Did anybody remember to hit restart and then hope it fixed itself?
In case you all forgot what happened just a couple of minutes ago.
You will be able to
This game
remove
has
the
it covered. In
malfunction that's
sepia, no
occurring
less.
from your crystal.
Yes, if you two were as dim as Shin was and thought it was all a dream, it was actually true.
It's simply healed on its own? Is something like that
It's-
even
it was a miracle.
possible? It's not that it's a scab or anything like that. It should be impossible for it to just fix itself on its own, without me knowing.
But the malfunction is fixed, right? Then everything's all
You
good.
think this would be a great time for Shin to
If I
explain
can't
everything that
discover the
happened,
reason it
and
was
he
fixed,
But it was
doesn't.
all a dream!
Yep.
a relapse might
That's the
occur.
thing. This
There is no
This game
way
does
I
kind
can
of
be
fall into the
happy until
problem
I know.
of, if people just talk to each other, so much would be done so much faster.
Right.
But we have another couple of chapters to go through. So.
Ariel, to tell you the truth,
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, this is the thing. He dreamed it. He didn't actually go into detail about it.
could that
So
be
as
Yeah,
a
like I
result,
don't think he'll mention Letitia, which
Right.
could have been important.
Yeah.
Shin, if you want to make me laugh, can you at least say something funny?
Lost
sleep
his
so
wit.
much that you even
How do you
lost
lose
your
something you've
wit?
never had?
Oh,
You don't have to go that
Crystal
far.
used magic medicine back on itself. Except that Shin hasn't made fun of her, like, ever.
Right. It's pretty much quite the opposite, in
Right.
fact.
I am coming in. Ariel, have you completed the emergency treatment on the crystal?
There's no longer any need to do so. The problem with the crystal has completely disappeared.
I have to say, it does bother me that they don't even flip her sprite. Or her
It's just as I
portrait.
said.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
have her look at
The
people.
malfunction in the crystal was.
'Cause it makes me think that she
completely
either
fixed.
entered the room backwards, or she's just so disgusted with her that she's talking from behind her back.
I don't really want to admit it myself, but something like this actually did happen, so I have no choice but to believe it is.
See, I don't want to believe it, but it happened. So it was a
there
woman
really
of
is no
science.
problem with his crystal.
There's no mistaking it. There is zero counterflow of the power. There is no chance that we'll be
Oh, that's
eroded by
great.
the
You know,
crystal.
erosion is such a problem.
Seriously.
Strictly speaking, I believe it would be best to schedule more follow-ups.
She just wants to milk more money out of the
We
system.
want to prioritize activating him for operations, right?
If only they would use more levies, they wouldn't have been having the erosion problem.
Lord, please come to the control room for a while. I have something to talk to you about.
Please come. Takes him there.
So, do you already know? what
Is it
happened
another
to
mission,
Rebecca?
Mario?
Yes, It's regarding my future treatment, right?
For one, she's not obsessed with killing demons.
I'm
Whoa.
glad that you are so quick.
She didn't see what just
So,
happened the last
What
half
would you
hour.
like to do from now on?
The answer's plain and simple. I want to
Oh, so she
continue
was letting
fighting
him
this god
volunteer
the
for it.
Celestial.
Ah.
Right.
I still count that as a win.
It is
Very important to
reassuring
maintain
that
the
you said that with
illusion
so
of
much
him
confidence.
doing everything of his own free will.
The reason I was hesitating before was because of the fact that Jupil and Ariel would get hurt if I fought.
And hurt pretty badly if you're supposed to believe the
Since that's no longer a
cutscenes
problem.
here.
Right.
I had no reason to hesitate.
Do you not believe it is possible that you might be critically injured again? The threat of death constantly surrounds us.
I already died once before. I'm pretty used to the idea of death.
Died once, got blown up once, and faints like every 2 seconds.
Right.
He's got this.
Yeah, there
It
is that
not
whole
very
underlying.
reassuring when you are already talking about suicide attacks. In any event, please do not do anything
I
rash.
thought with the hyphen there, it's supposed to imply she was actually worried about him, but she
Right.
doesn't bother
In order to end
sounding
this
that way
war,
anyway.
we have no choice but to defeat the devils. In order for us to do that, we require your power. Thank you for
At
your
least give the guy
service.
a medal or something.
Oh no, the poor devils.
At this point, I think it's more, you know, is there any way to,
This for a while.
you know, at least create an
Is there
armistice so
any
you aren't
way we
constantly
can end
getting
this
people
war in
killed?
the first place?
What do you mean?
Yeah, this is something
Like
when
the
Ben and I
peace
saw
talks,
this when we
anything.
talked about that for a little
Isn't there
bit.
any
This,
other
this
way to
okay,
end the war other than
everybody.
by fighting?
This is actually
Yeah,
kind of
actually
important.
pay attention
Right.
to this.
Cannot do. This war will only end when either the angels or devils become extinct.
Why are angels and devils at war in the first place?
I do not know.
Okay, so this is strike one.
Fighting, even though you don't know why?
The war began way before I was born. There are no angels or devils who go back that far. So,
Which
nobody
is really
knows when
kind
the
of
war
silly
started.
because even when you
We
had
are
things
all
like the
fighting
100 Years
without
War,
knowing.
where, yeah, everybody in that generation died, the only way that would work is if there was an actual loss of transmission of
You should
information.
just stop.
Right.
Because in
To
order
fight
to
without
fight, people
knowing
have
why.
to know why.
Right.
And,
Shin,
you know,
do you
the
have any
casus
family?
belli, whatever it was, is the
Why
thing
are
that
you
people would
asking that all
cling
of a
to no
sudden?
matter what.
Right.
It has nothing
So
to
it
do
could
with
be that
this.
there would be a disagreement
When you escaped
about what
to
the
the
thing
human world,
was.
Hmm.
Or
you
the
were
actual
wandering
reason
around
may
your
not
route
be,
to
you know,
school
perfectly
instead of
known.
returning home.
But at the least there'd be
Why was
something
that?
like, you know, the devils attacked our, you know, the first Celestia and, you know, and killed everything.
Right.
Oh, I need to
Like
answer
for
that
example, you know, when the Crusades
Just
happened,
tell
you
me.
had generations
My
that
family,
fought, and
my
every
parents
time it was the
died when I
basic
was
thing.
young.
You know, they took the Holy Land, and we need
They
to
were
take
in a
it
car
back.
Exactly right.
Conversely,
I
when
see.
the Muslims did
What
their
do you
counter
feel toward the
conquest,
person who
it was
caused
exactly the
this?
opposite. You know, these,
still
you know,
feel
the Christian
hatred toward that
infidels took our
person,
land,
even now?
and now, you know, even if it takes
I was still
generations,
really
we will
small.
reclaim all of it.
Right.
Even though I can't
So there would
see it.
always be something. Yeah, exactly, Keen. Not knowing why you're fighting is incredibly stupid. And more to the point, you know, if people are asking you to, you know, sacrifice yourself frequently, you have to have some reason for it.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Who's right
My
now? Yeah.
parents passed away many,
Yeah, it's
many
like
years ago.
at the very
They
least,
were
what
killed by
is
a
the
devil.
devil propaganda? You know, why
devil
when they
came to
raise the
invade
legions to
Celestia
go launch sneak
and was
attacks on
probably injured
unprovoked
somewhere
on
along the
civilians?
line.
What do they
My
tell them?
parents took him
You know,
in
why do they
to
urge
shelter
them to do it? It's just, you
That
know, you should
devil
hate
forgot
all
how
angels,
great
okay,
he should be.
because X.
And
Right.
my
You know, there is
parents
something
were
they're
rebels.
telling people to
I
get
was
them,
there.
you know, motivated to the
Saw
point
everything.
of, you know, we will cackle
I will
as
never be
we,
able
you
to
know, run
forgive
our swords
the
through
and I do
you,
not
you,
even
uninvolved
intend to
humans,
try.
you know.
Yeah,
I will
like,
not
this
stop.
actually makes you think, even for actual atrocities in history, not even wars, you have
Right.
things like that. Like, the thing I'll remember is there was a period of time,
Everyone who
basically
lives in this
between World War
Celestia,
I and World War
drifting here
II,
because they
where you
lost
had a
their
genre
homes
of
and loved
romantic
ones in the
literature
war.
in Germany that was
Right.
called
We have already built a
Blutenboden, or
mountain
Blood
from
and
the
Soil.
countless bodies
And
of
the
the dead.
idea was that it was this romantic
There is no
idea that, you know,
longer
there's
any
something
way that either
intrinsically
side can
tied between
retreat.
German blood and
If we were
Germany.
to retreat,
And another
the
part of
wills of the
that
soldiers who
was
died would become
the
meaningless.
idea that, like,
There
in
is no
children's
way we
stories,
can
keep in mind, this is for like 2 or 3 year
Celestia
olds.
that has been
You would
trampled
have
by
stories
devils has no
where,
option but
you know,
to
the
wish
child
their God
sees a
to
friend's
descend.
farm being bought out by a Jew
There is no
and
other
being
choice
kicked
but to
out,
continue to
and, you know,
fight.
the child saying, I will never, ever, ever do business with a Jew or even let them in my house because of that.
Right.
And the moral of the story is, yes, that's what you should do, little boy, because the Jews will
Seems we
take
got
your
off on a
stuff.
tangent.
That's the kind of thing
More
that you see for
importantly, it would be
atrocities of
greatly
war.
appreciated if you
Something
continue to
in
lend
there,
us your
Right.
some
powers as God.
intrinsic factor that they can point to and say, that's
won't
why
cut any
you
corners.
do this.
Right.
So if it is
terribly
devil
sorry
propaganda,
that
they
you
would
get
have
more of
some
your
instance
time
where,
than I expected.
the angels,
You may leave.
killed X, or they did X,
Regarding
or they
our
poisoned our
continued
land, or,
I shall
they
contact
took
you
our
later.
stuff, or whatever it is. Like, even if it was, the equivalent of the boogeyman, it's like, the angels swooped down with their, sneak attacks. They killed a bunch of people, and that's why you can never trust an angel.
Right.
Something like that. There's always something.
And Valiant was saying the real reason they have ancestors did, Flython were devils, their angels figured it out. Oh, also, choice.
Oh yeah, we have a choice.
But
Angel or devil.
But yeah, it's funny. It's like even if you're going off of the Jewish and Christian and the pan Old Testament, the religions based off that, the reason why devils hate angels is God kicked them out.
Right.
Even then, there's a reason. Whereas here we are, it's like they're fighting like as you do, and
Lorax says angel.
all right, we have a vote for angel. Oh, okay.
Jupi it is.
Oh, we'll pass us on the draw. The game is beating us over the head that devil equals wrong, even if it is, a devil in a lab coat.
Sir Shin, congratulations on your recovery.
I thought like we're looking for nuance in a war between the embodiments of good and
That's
evil.
the thing, though.
Except,
the game is actually positing this is not the embodiment of good and evil. So you actually have to have nuance, or else you're having your passion play that's trying to masquerade as something else.
Right. Keen was saying, the other thing he can think of is they're trying to say this is a blood feud of vengeance where the point of the war is becoming ancillary.
That is possible. Like, if you're doing the whole Hatfield McCoy thing, then yeah, the first thing that happens, maybe. But again, that kind of goes into back the whole transmission of information thing.
Right.
Because even then, it's like, the idea is, hey, they killed us first. They can still point to something and say that.
Right. And it's not that Muriel said that the war didn't matter, it's that she didn't know.
Right.
Yeah, those are... And yeah, then Keen followed up. They failed at that point, they failed at that if the point was supposed to be that the war was fundamentally empty.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like she literally says they don't know why, not that it doesn't matter why, which are very different.
And if they wanted to go with the idea that, the original cause is something that truly is like deeply unknown, they could have even gone something along the lines of something more realistic. Like Mario saying, I don't know why the devil started this.
Right.
I don't know what what bee in their bonnet happened that made them decide they have to wipe us out.
Right.
All I care about is that every one of my loved ones will die if I don't do this. That's good enough for me.
Right.
But again, they didn't do that.
Right.
So,
Thank you very much. I shall do all that I can
as
to
your
protect you as
exclusively
well.
assigned
Angel.
angel. Yes.
It was all a prank call.
It was all a prank call. Do you have Belial in a can? And the devil's freaked out. It's been war ever since. It's horrible.
Yeah, Muriel's, great grandparents, just sent the,
They sent a form letter to a birthday invitation. That was like, what even? Yeah, I had actually thought that somebody somewhere said that the devils polluted the land of the Netherworld. And if that's the case, like, well, that would be at least reason enough to point at, even if it wasn't the original reason.
Right.
It's like, hey, wherever the devils go, this is what they do. And that's why we don't. That's why we have flying cities, because, the devils ruined everything.
Right. Ruined everything.
Alright. And normally I wouldn't cut this quite so short.
It's still over 2 hours. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I mean, usually we go for
usually like
three or so.
three, right?
But my voice is starting to give out,
Oh.
and like I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a super busy weekend for
True.
Wayne and myself. So I'm going to go ahead and call it there,
Okay.
and we will be back on Tuesday with Dragon's Dogma.
Yes, the Dragon's Dogma. Assuming I don't stream anything tomorrow, which I probably won't, as everybody's reminded me, I may not...
The crushing weight of responsibility. Devils are why we cannot have nice things. Exactly right. But yeah, it'll be Tuesday. If there is something, check your inboxes Monday and get the notifications.
Oh,
Hey, you're welcome,
Flython.
Flython. And yeah, we'll be doing Darkest Dungeon and
Dragon's Dungeon, Dragon's Dogma, yep.
DD
Yep.
on Tuesday, and then on Thursday I will be doing something.
Secret project.
Not necessarily that, but yeah, I have decided that Dark Souls 3 it's not working for me. So we'll be doing something else on Thursday. Please look forward to it.
All right. Take care, folks. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Happy Memorial Day to all of you, and we'll see you on Tuesday.